blaming stuff on alcohol is usually the one key thing that a lot of people do, especially here in Wisconsin, because you can't swing a dead cat, chipmunk, or ringworm in this city without hitting a goddamn bar. I mean, especially in, like I just said, here in Wisconsin, we are known for drinking. Several years ago, when Wisconsin went to
that and cheese.
That and cheese, right.
Anyway, sorry.
Wisconsin went down to Arizona or New Mexico because they had the state bowl or whatever, and they literally drank the fucking state dry. I kid you not. That was a thing. The bars, they didn't have enough alcohol to sustain all the people from Wisconsin. I'm just saying that actually happened. And police out there have to take control of people driving drunk. The problem is there was a police officer who had arrested over 100 people for driving drunk, which I'm kind of glad that he's out there doing his job, getting drunk people off the road. He went to do a award ceremony for him, say, hey, you did a good thing. And he shows up to this award ceremony completely hammered. Officer Michael Siegel, I'm not even sure how to pronounce his last name, of Pinus County Sheriff's Department showed up on a Mothers Against Drunk Driving conference in Fort Lauderdale, so drunk that he couldn't even walk straight. He was scheduled to receive that award for making the over 100 DUI arrests, and he showed up drunk himself. Now, it's assumed that he drove himself there to the conference because why not? Now, the officer denies that he drove drunk and insists he had only had 1 or 2 drinks before the conference. Yeah, the first one and the last one. That's the 2 drinks. How many you had? 2, the first and the last.
Maybe it was 2 bottles of brandy.
Possibly. Once the supervisor encountered him, they described him as being wasted and sent him back to his hotel room to miss out on both the conference and his award. Yeah, because if I showed up at work drunk for an award or something, they're just like, yeah, just go home to the hotel room or whatever. Yeah, you're going to send somebody else who's been drinking out to drive himself back to his hotel room. See, if this had been anybody else, they would have said, okay, we figure you got here by your car and you're under arrest because that's how the law works. A weird example of how this law works, if you get drunk and you get in your car, into the driver's seat, you put the key in the ignition. The car doesn't even have to start. You fall asleep in the car in that area, or even if you do start the car but you don't move it, then you can be arrested for drunk driving. You didn't drive it anywhere, but the intent is there, as they call it. It's kind of good, but it's kind of stupid at the same time, which is the funniest thing about this story is that this is not the first time it's ever happened. Last year, David Griffin, the acting chapter president of Mothers Against Drunk Driving, and a former deputy police chief was both arrested for driving under the influence of alcohol. Since then, Griffin has resigned from his position at MADD after 18 years of being CEO of the high-ranking member of the organization. And back in 2011, Deborah Oberlin, a former president of MADD, was arrested for driving with an alcohol level that was 3 times the legal limit. Maybe they just did it as a thrill. It's like, what's with all this drink and driving? I know we're against it, but I wonder what it's like. I'm going to give it a try and see what it's like for myself. Now, This is the story here is from the Raw story. Now, the creepiest part about this whole story, there's a picture of Ted Cruz, and he's kind of looking at me. He's like, ugh. Now I need a drink. Connie, your thoughts?
Maybe he realized that this is the scope of my career, and I'm going to just be, because I've been recognized for pulling over this many drunk drivers, this is all I'm going to be doing the rest of my life. I need a drink. I don't know. I mean, part of me, I was trying to research this, and it seems like they do try to make examples of police officers who are arrested this way, but I just don't know if it goes down the same way for them as it does a common citizen.
I'd imagine not.
So it's a public hand slap, but not nearly the same amount of repercussions. I don't know. So, I mean, he's got, time off with pay.
Yeah, with pay.
So yeah, if you're cooling your heels in jail after drinking and driving, uh, I'm assuming that you don't get paid the next day. So your car's in the impound and blah blah blah. Yeah. So this is just
Yeah,
so frustrating.
it is very frustrating.
But then again, we are talking about Florida, the penis of the United States, too.
It's Florida. It's a stupid state anyway.
Sorry. Oh my God. Oh, we have chlamydia in Texas and we have drunk driving in Florida.
Yeah, and by the police officers themselves, probably.
I know.
That's all. Godless Geezer, what are your thoughts?
Aside from a little bit of humor of the hypocrisy, I think it does bring up an important point about drug abuse with police officers, and this is a serious problem. And the reason is they're under so much stress, working 12-hour shifts, and and they're seeing the worst of humanity. The ones who are, I mean, some of them are up in the administration, but the ones who are out on the street,
Yeah.
they're giving traffic tickets, but they're the ones going to domestic disputes, shootings, and suicides. And the irony is, that they're so distraught, and that they go self-medicate with booze or legal drugs or something. But there is a treatment for this kind of stuff that can actually help, and it's illegal in the U.S. And that's MDMA, ecstasy. It given in therapeutic doses after having been through a trauma, it can prevent anxiety disorders and prolonged, trouble over that. And so that, I think, I mean, therapeutically, it's not addictive. There's no health risk. Why isn't it standard procedure? Of course, if it's medically appropriate,
Right.
for officers after they've been through one of these horrendous things, to be given a dose of this and prevent. There's been multiple research studies done, and it's just this ignorance of puritanical people of,
the war on drugs started in the 80s with
it's why don't you call it the
Mrs. Reagan?
empowerment of cartels?
Yeah.
But this is a drug that can treat PTSD. It can help in all kinds of circumstances, and to do it, it doesn't even have to be taken sustainably. 1 or 2 doses will do the trick. You're a cop. You've just seen someone's brain splattered all over the place. You go back to the station. You take the pill, and then you don't have nightmares for the rest of your life over it.
Wow.
Because it just has to do with the way your brain wires memories, and because it's not truly a euphoria, but a feeling of warmth and comfort, and so it can, it can counteract the stress
association
disorder
effect.
Yeah. So you're just preventing this programming, which can cause severe stress disorders.
Interesting.
And so to me, it's like, the irony of this situation's funny and everything, but
how many arrests he's made
yeah,
should correlate with why he might be self-medicating now.
yeah. So
Interesting.
You need to think about, okay,
Yeah.
why are some, it's like, I actually checked this up, and the suicide rate amongst police officers is double that of the rest of the populace.
Torvian from the chat room here, he says, I panic when I hear pouring drink. I am told it's because my dad was a mean alcoholic. That's a hard thing to get overhead. Certain sounds, certain it's either sounds, smells, or just a visualization of something. Sometimes it can trigger all kinds of things.
True.
Yeah. As I've discussed on my channel, I have PTSD from, the way I was raised, but things like that can trigger, panic attacks, things that remind you I actually am a teetotaler. It just holds no interest to me.
I actually have
Yeah,
actually a
yeah,
nice
yeah,
large collection of alcohol. And the thing is, it's some of it's over 20 years old.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I'm not anti-alcohol. I mean, when I was younger, I really liked those expensive beers that you can slice. They're so thick. But I just lost interest in it. It wasn't ever
I
even a
Right.
conscious decision. I just lost interest. And then for a while, I was on a medicine that I couldn't have alcohol while I was on it. And when I stopped being on that medicine, I just never drank again. It was so it just but yeah, it's like and that's a whole nother thing. It kind of gets relates back to sex ed. Why in the hell do we have kids who are made to wait till they're 21 to legally drink? That leads to abuse because they have to sneak and do it or break the law and do it.
Mhm.
And as far as alcoholism, if we could have something, oh, I don't know, like free health care, mental health care in this
That
country,
would be
so
nice.
that people and get rid of the goddamn stigma of getting mental health care.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
mean, because like I say, I know what it's like to have PTSD, and you imagine all these people who don't get it treated.
Right.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
they're not all violent, but they can be a danger to themselves.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well,
uh,
there's
yeah.
well, there's well, it actually Anubis
Mhm.
is another channel, and he was saying that the problem with connecting mental health and mental illness with gun control is that you really vilify mental health because we just it becomes this association with that kind of a thing, with the misuse of firearms. And there's so much that we do not understand about mental health.
Yeah.
It's
Yes.
it's it's huge. I don't know. That's one of the things that's really wrong. Why aren't we spending more time and money understanding our own brains and
Yeah.
how they work,
I
and
take mine out
social.
at night and I put it in the charger. I'm just saying. It's just like,
Yeah. But like I can't remember, Connie, whether on the hangout that I know I was in one with you on Robin Dupree
On
Reed's
Robin
channel, but
Dupree,
it
yeah,
was one
the
of
one Monday one, yes.
yeah, I don't know if that was the week I talked about this about my PTSD, that I'm under control now, but
Yes.
before I had medicine, I would have flashbacks so intense that I was not aware of what was going on.
mhm.
I
Yeah.
was back in that memory, and it was like, what if I, like where I felt I was under dire danger and threat and about to be beaten or something.
Wow.
Well, what if in those 10 or 15 seconds I have those experiences, sometimes it's been longer than that, 30 seconds, when I have no conscious awareness of reality, or present anyway. Uh,
Hmm.
if I had a gun in my hand or at my side, I
Hmm.
don't have any weapons in the house,
Yeah.
but, and what
Mine's a
you're saying,
spoon.
but we,
Mine's a spoon.
we,
Mine's a spoon and fork. I'm just saying. It doesn't.
but, that's the whole thing is we do know so much about mental health, and people don't get the care that they can get, and there's so much more to learn, and it just isn't
Exactly.
taken seriously.
Well, doesn't it become it becomes repulsive? People are hesitant to talk about it, and I'm like,
Mhm.
well, no, we we should be able to talk about this. We should be able to talk about these things because this is something that we all can share at some point. I mean, mental health is only as good as, I don't know, the next experience in your life. It's not
Yeah,
something, it
yeah,
I just wish that it wasn't a taboo. It feels like
yeah.
it feels like a taboo, and when something's a taboo,
Mhm.
then it becomes something scary that people don't want to broach, and that's where it becomes. I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm losing
Yeah.
my train of thought here,
Well,
but
That
yeah,
I
it's
mean,
because.
tar,
that
tar,
is one of the reasons why on my channel and in Hangouts I've decided to come forward about having PTSD. It's misunderstood,
mhm.
and there's a stigma. You think of some guy, killing 30 people and shooting himself and stuff. And yes, that does
Exactly.
happen, but most people with PTSD are not violent. It's just
Right.
this quiet suffering that they have every day of their life.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's time people spoke out, you
Yeah.
know, give, their treatments. I mean, like, and I'm going to give you the exact name of the drug. So, because it's called Prozocin. It's an anti-nightmare drug. I mean, it does other things, but it works wonders on, if you have trauma in your past and are having constant nightmares, relieving it and stuff. There's actually medications to suppress that. It doesn't eliminate it, but it's not every night with me anymore,
Oh, that's
Right.
that's
So
good at least.
so it's there are medications that work. There are therapies that work, desensitizations, and people need to know.
Yeah.
And a little bit of a tangent about this drunken cop, but I would bet
Yeah, we
I
went
would
way
probably
off
bet
from the
I would
drunken cop.
probably
Oh.
bet money that he's got PTSD or some other anxiety disorder from his
That
work,
he's
and that's
that
why he's
he's
drinking.
dealing with.
Yeah.
Yes.
Who knows what he dealt with the day before
Yeah.
that award? I mean, did he see someone's brain splattered out? That's the thing cops see.
And the other thing, one of the things is that we're not addressing is that some people have a problem speaking in public, in
Yeah.
front of other people. I mean, I was like that. I would get in front of people. I'm like, oh my god, I'm gonna make a fucking fool of myself. Whatever, I can't speak, and then you break down. More people are actually afraid of podiums than they are snakes, which is really weird because every time I've walked through the desert and I see a podium, I just freak the fuck out. They travel in pairs, We had some comments here from the chat room. I did want to address. Torvin said that alcohol makes him calmer because alcohol is a depressant, so
Right.
it will do
Right.
that for you. So a lot of people do that. And
Okay, I would just say to that is alcohol can be used therapeutically.
yes, it can.
I would just say make sure that your healthcare provider knows about your consumption, and yes, it can be used therapeutically. What it needs to not be done is used abusively. But yeah, I mean, if you have trouble sleeping, having a cold one, right before going to bed can help you go to sleep.
Yeah, myself, I don't like the taste of beer. It's just it's just icky for me.